may make a bed, a chair, a table, or any wood products. We're going to answer your questions right now. So stay still because our video is all about woodworking process. But before you will going to know how to do so, we're going to discuss first what kinds of wood joints we're going to use, what kind of wood joints reinforcements, and how to finish woodworks. And at the end of this video, you're going to know how to make a roof base in the house. So without further ado, let's go.
Wood joinery is one of the most basic concepts in woodworking. If we didn't have the ability to join two pieces of wood together in a solid fashion, all woodworking pieces would be sculptured, carved up of a single piece of wood. However, with the many varied kinds of wood joinery, a woodworker has a number of different joints in his arsenal from which to choose, based on the project. If you master this wood joinery concept, you will be on your way to becoming a very accomplished woodworker. So, here's the following kind of wood joint. Butt joint. There is no more basic wood joinery than the butt joint. A butt joint is nothing more than when one piece of wood butts into another, most often at the right angle or square to the other board, and is fastened using mechanical fasteners. This kind of joint is often used in wall framing on construction sites. Metered butt joint. A metered butt joint is nearly the same as a basic butt joint, except that two boards are joined at an angle instead of square to one another. The advantage is that the metered butt joint will not show any end grain, and as such is a bit more aesthetically pleasing. However, the metered butt joint isn't all that strong. Pocket joint. The pocket joint is a kind of wood joinery that involves cutting a slot and pre-drilling a pilot hole at an angle between two boards before connecting the two with a screw. This pre-drilling needs to be very accurate, so it is typically accomplished by use of a commercial jig. Pocket joints work great for cabinet face frames and other similar applications where a lot of strength is not needed. Dado joint. A dado joint is nothing more than a square groove slot on one board where another board will fit. Similar to tongue and groove joinery, this is a commonly used wood joint for connecting plywood, such as building cabinetry. Rabbet joint. Another common wood joint used in cabinetry is the rabbet. A rabbet is essentially a dado cut along the edge of a board. Rabbet are often used at the back of cabinets and other similar assemblies for attaching the back to the side of the box, adding a considerable amount of the strength to the assembly. Sliding dovetail. A sliding dovetail is a versatile joint with a lot of possible uses. A good way to think of it is as a locking dado. Half-lap joint. The half-lap joint is where half of each of the two boards being joined is removed, so that the two boards join together flush with one another. This type of wood joinery can obviously weaken the strength of the two adjoining boards, but also is a strongest joint than butt joints. There are a number of projects where these types of wood joints is quite desirable in spite of its drawbacks. True dovetail joint. Of all wood joinery methods, the true dovetail may be the most revered. A classic true dovetail is beautiful and very strong and adds a touch class to any piece. There are a few methods for creating true dovetails, from hand cutting to machining with a jig. Half-blind dovetail. There are situations where a dovetail joint is the connection of choice, but both edges of the dovetail on the face of the drawer. For this type of joint, the best choice is half-blind dovetail. Box joint. Dovetail joints are beautiful and strong, but not always practical. A box joint is a simpler alternative to the dovetail joint. Mortise and tenon joint. The mortise and tenon is a classical wood joinery method. These joints have been used since the early times of woodworking and are still among the strongest and most elegant methods for joining wood. Tongue and groove joint. When joining two boards square to one another along a long edge, one can simply butt the joint another and hold it with fasteners. However, the tongue and groove joint is much stronger and provides more adjoining surface areas, which is particularly useful if you are going to glue the joint. Biscuit joint. Another method for joining boards along the edges, like the tongue and groove joint, is to cut slot and use beechwood wafers, known as a biscuit, to hold the boards in a place. This is a very useful modern woodworking joint, particularly for creating table tops, relying on glue and the swelling of the beechwood biscuit to hold the boards in a place.
Kinds of joints reinforcement. Reinforcement means the act of making something stronger. So joint reinforcement effectively distributes stress. It must adequately banded through the mortar so the masonry and reinforcement act together. We prepared here an example of kind of joints reinforcement that we can use to prevent loose joints from moving. These are the materials that we need to use. First, you will need to put the glue into the joint. And you can now wipe the excess glue using damp cloth. Then you need a twine to tie it tightly within 24 hours for the glue to dry. The second way is use another wood block to provide bracing. First, measure, mark, and cut to the wood block size. Apply some PVA glue to the side of the wood block that will be in contact with the joint. Now, press in the wood and proceed with driving the screw through the block into the joint. You will need a twist drill bit with the side just under the diameter of the screw. For this, the screw will hold the wood in place while the glue dries. Third is to use common L bracket that can be found in hardware store. First, position the L bracket appropriately and make marks on the wood to locate the holes for placing the screws. Pre-drilling a hole to help the screws go in a little more easily. Now, place the L bracket in position and drive in screw. Now, you can fix loose wooden joints around your house using joint reinforcement, considering these three easy methods. First, putting PVA glue into joints. Second, use another wood block to provide bracing. And third, use common L bracket.
And finally, let's know how to finish woodwork.
A wood finishing is the final layer of coating that covers the stain. Wood stains change or improve the wood color. Wood finishes give a desired appearance and protect wood surface and provide a cleanable surface. Finishing provides a way of giving low-value woods the appearance of ones that are expensive and difficult to obtain.
And now applying some basic kind of wood joint reinforcement and wood joints, I'm going to make a simple office table. As you can see guys, the first thing I did is to cut this wood into the measurement I needed. So after cutting the wood guys, I start to lay it out now. As you can see, there are now basic wood joints that is visible in what I am doing. Guys, this is just a basic office table, so maybe you cannot see me using those some other wood reinforcement. Yes, I just use a nail for this table for the wood to be compact together. to know the importance of getting the exact measurement of the wood, and of course, the wood reinforcement and wood joints we are going to use in this table. These things are giving us the perfect appearance of the table we are making. Maybe you were asking where did I get my materials in making this table. Guys, this is just a leftover of my papa in making a chicken house. This is for the mini door of my table, and look what I am going to use. I'm going to use a bracket. One kind of wood reinforcement. I don't know what exactly the name of this bracket, but the things made my work easier in doing the mini door of my table. So, after doing this for an hour, I am starting now finishing my product. After many hours, I decided to paint it with white color. Maybe you were asking why I didn't use varnish. Guys, the materials I used is a plywood, leftover plywood. So I prefer to paint it to protect it from wet.